Okay, Vibeke, over to you.
Thank you, Alex. And hello, everyone. Welcome to this webinar of the Global Network of Data Officers and Statisticians with today's topics on coordinating training in official statistics. The focus of today will be very closely linked to another global network, which is the Global Network of Institutes for Statistical Training, often referred to as GIST. The GIST network is working closely and actively to improve coordination and accessibility of statistical training, which we also will briefly introduce at the beginning of this webinar. It will then be followed by a more in-depth presentation of one of the areas of work of GIST in the last year, which is the establishment of a hub or a gateway for statistical courses and microlearning materials on the UN SDG Learn platform. We will be giving a brief demonstration, and we will be introducing you to a selection of courses that different members of the GIST community have added. So that will be the main focus of today. The speakers we will come back to later, and at the end there will also be a chance for questions and answers. As many of you already have heard, the settings for today's meeting is that participants are not able to unmute themselves as of now. This will be changed when we move into the question and answer session. But you do have access to the chat, so you can already start asking questions in the chat. And we would, of course, very much welcome that. So please go ahead and ask questions, provide suggestions and ideas that come to your mind. I have a couple of organizational things also. Please also feel free to add additional information in the chat as well. And then also know that the webinar is being recorded today and will be made available on the Global Network of Data Officers and Statisticians at yammer.com/unstats/. Many of you, I believe, are already members of the community on Yammer, but we would also encourage you to join if that is not already the case, and there actively join the discussions that are ongoing, including on this topic. So that was also where we will be sharing the recording. So if you miss out on some of it today, you will also have a chance to see it later on. With this, I would like to hand over to our first speaker, who is Ms. Mitali Sen. She is the current chair of the Global Network of Institutes for Statistical Training, and she's also the Chief of Technical Assistance and Capacity Building at US Census Bureau. And she will be giving us a brief introduction to the GIST and some of the ongoing work. Over to you, Mitali.
Thank you, Vibeke. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all my colleagues all over the world. Thank you very much for being here. This is GIST's first outreach event, and so we're very pleased to have you. So, you know, the range and depth of data demands emerging out of the 2030 agenda and the SDGs is unprecedented, and meeting them requires strengthening countries' statistical capacities. So training is key in strengthening statistical capacities, and GIST, the Global Network of Institutions for Statistical Training, is designed for that. So the overall objective of the GIST is to facilitate collaboration among members of the network in the delivery of trainings on statistics in a more harmonized and standardized manner, as well as to improve effectiveness of these trainings through maximizing their outreach. The membership of GIST, there are three kinds of members. First, international agencies. We have the Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO, IMF, World Bank, ILO, International Statistical Institutes, UNITAR, which is the UN Institute for Training and Research, Paris 21, UNSD. Regional agencies and training institutes are also members. We have African Development Bank, UN Statistical Institute for Asia and Pacific, Eurostat, We have several regional training centers in East Africa, West Africa, in the Arab region as part of members, as well as IDEP, and you will be hearing from some of them today. And finally, we have members of country NSOs that provide assistance, and those are Brazil, China, India, Norway, South Korea, Republic of Korea, and United States. In order to support the work of GIST and the work the members are doing, we really needed an advisory group, and the advisory group is constituted by representatives from the NSOs of the following countries currently: Ethiopia, Fiji, Ghana, Hungary, Italy, Japan, Mexico, Morocco, Mozambique, Philippines, Sri Lanka, State of Palestine. Without their participation, we would not have been as successful in what we do, so we thank them gratefully for being our advisors. The current board we had a board for 3 years, and now there's a new board for the next 2 years from 21 to 23. It is being chaired by US Census Bureau. I'm a representative of the Bureau. And then we have the team leads from the 3 task teams of GIST, currently represented by UNITAR, UNCAP, and IDEP. And then the UNSD, Statistical Division, is the secretariat. So the ongoing work of GIST can be found in the website, unstats.un.org/GIST. We have been very active for the last 2 years, creating materials, developing platforms so that we can reach out to the world and the world can use the resources. The work of GIST has been divided into 3 task teams. First task team is called the Online Gateway, an e-learning community of practice. And they've mostly been focused on putting together a platform where there are courses available for people all over the world to train on. The second task team is one on statistical literacy. As you know, you may disseminate a lot of good data, but unless it's used, it is actually of little use. So statistical literacy is the focus of the second task team. And finally, addressing specific NSO demands. Over the last 2 years, we've been working on trying to figure out what is the best way to coordinate training on national statistical systems and what are good ways of creating sustainable in-house training programs. So with that, today's focus is going to be on the task team 1, and I'm very glad you're here, and I hope you will take what you learn out to your colleagues and do outreach for us. Thank you, and over to you, Vibeke.
Thank you so much, Mitali. I forgot to introduce myself. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Vibeke Nielsen, and I'm the one who mostly does the secretariat role of the UN Statistics Division related to GIST. I would now like to hand over to Elena Proden, who is one of the task team leads of GIST, focusing on statistical literacy. She is also a statistician at the UN Institute for Training and Research, or UNITAR, and has been key to the development of the statistics hub on UN SDG Learn, and she will be taking us through this. Over to you, Elena.
Thank you very much, Vibeke. So I'm going to put up my colorful presentation, because my presentation will be essentially about doing the demo of the gateway that we've been talking already earlier today. So basically, what is it? It's a gateway that provides access to various trainings and e-learnings that are developed and provided by various members, primarily of the Global Network of Statistical Training Institutes, GIST, but also a few other providers of learning. And the idea is simple. We did not want to reinvent the wheel. The idea was rather to create one stop shop entry to enable learners to much easier identify the learning in the area of statistics that is most fit to their needs. So basically, this solution, it draws on a platform that was developed more generally in support of learning on the SDGs, also including for policymakers. But then we thought with other GIST members, why not to leverage this and then create a special community subsite dedicated to the statistical community. So this is how we got the statistics landing page. It has some simple features with the idea, again, to enable learners to find easily what they are looking for, to compare various courses and learnings, and then make the decision on taking a course, because of course it might be also an important time investment for the learners. So you can either, as you can see here, use very simply the search engine and enter a few keywords, or you can also use some taxonomies that are provided on the gateway. For example, there is a taxonomy loosely based on the classification of statistical activities, such as that includes sort of 5 main domains: demographic and social statistics, economic statistics, environment and multi-domain statistics, methodology of statistical processes, and strategic and managerial issues. And then you can also use a thematic taxonomy that you see below. For example, if some of the courses you are looking for are specifically on a given indicator on the SDGs, for example, in the area of food security, you could then click choose goal 2, and then you are likely to find the course that you are looking for. Then you can also search by the type of learning. Here for the statistics page, we made this choice of having 3 main types of learning. E-learning courses that become particularly prominent now, of course. Then face-to-face courses, many of which are delivered right now in the online mode. And finally, microlearning. And we will come back to its definition in a second. So once you start your search, you will be able to see a page like that, where basically you would see all relevant courses based on your search. Here I didn't do any specific search, so you just see all courses related to, in the area of statistics, basically, that are listed below. The list is much longer. But then you can refine your search, and you can, for example, search also by the type of learning. Like here, for example, more refined, you may be looking maybe for facilitated e-learning or non-facilitated, etc. Again, here you can look by goal, but also statistics theme. And here you can see there is this drop-down menu that provides a more detailed choice with subcategories under the 5 main domains identified in the classification of statistical activities. So here, for example, you could search more specifically for regional and small area statistics or big data and geospatial information. You can also search by language, subject, region, etc. And you can also here see that we now have this new feature that you can search also for microlearning. What are we referring to here? Basically, really, the idea is simple. For those learners who have just a few minutes to spare, for example, and do not have time to take a fully fledged course, they might be interested in short bits of learning. Either watching a short video or perhaps reading a blog story, or maybe taking a quiz, or going to a platform dedicated to data where they can find certain things or they would like to explore too quickly. So the idea of microlearning is really for the busy learners who would like to learn something quickly today. And then once sort of you've seen your selection, you can click on one of them and you will see a more detailed metadata about the course, describing its learning objectives, the structure, but also providing some other key information that can help you make a decision. For example, if the course provides a certificate or not, its start and end date, registration deadline, the length, the study time, the effort, because of course the course can be delivered over several months, but then the study time may be much shorter, the language, the level, etc. And then final point, important point here is that once you sort of think that this is the course for you, you can click on visit a course page, and then you will be taken from the gateway to the learning platform of the course provider. So the gateway does not host courses. It really provides, this platform provides a gateway and entry point to the courses. And here is just one example of the course that has emerged also out of the collaboration of several GIST members, UNITAR, UN Statistics Division, and Economic Commission for Africa on statistical literacy. The course was developed for policymakers worldwide to help improve the understanding of data and statistics for more effective SDG decision making. And as you can see here, this e-learning course, which is a self-paced course, includes several modules with some refreshers, basic statistical skills in modules 1 and 2. It also raises some awareness about the importance of data for decision-making in module 1 and looks at the difference between official statistics and other types of data in module 2. Discusses also main sources of data for the official statistics. Then in module 3, it looks at communicating with data more effectively with stories, but also visual methods, graphs, tables, and maps. Module 4, which is about to be launched, discusses various and guides learners on various data sources when they look for data on specific SDG indicators or related questions. And then finally, the last module, which is under review, is dedicated to how to use data to inform policy formulation, monitoring, and evaluation. And this is just how an example, an extra how the course, module 3 of the course looks like. To say final word, right now the gateway provides access to 59 courses from more than 25 GIST members and other organizations. And we encourage you, if you have some courses that you offer, also please contact us with UN Statistics Division, Rebecca as the Secretariat, and let us know, and we will be happy also to help you show your course on the platform. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Elena. And we will now move on to the bit where we also will hear more about some of the courses that other GIST members have been providing. First, we will be hearing from 2 representatives that provide e-learning courses or information about e-learning courses on UNSDG Learn Statistics. And then we will also see an example of a microlearning. The first organization to present is the UN Statistical Institute for Asia and the Pacific. And before I introduce the speaker, I just quickly wanted to show you on the UNSDG Learn page. The courses that they have added. You can see here, I have selected from the statistics page, I have specified CIAP. And you can see here that there 5 courses are available. And this is also what Mr. Makoto Shimizu, the officer in charge at UNCIAP, will be talking with us about today. So I'll stop sharing again, and I'll hand over to you, Mr. Makoto.
Thank you for giving me an opportunity to introduce our e-learning courses. Wait a moment, please, for opening my slides. SIAP was established in 1970, one of the regional institutes of United Nations ESCAP. So most participants come from Asia and the Pacific. Our missions are training of official statisticians and help Statistical Training Institute of countries. Under the long-term pandemic, all training has shifted completely to web-based, but include interactive elements. General training on statistical topics have a large number of participants. Training focused on trainers or country has a small number of participants. We are not isolated. Training is co-organized with our partners, such as UN Women, World Bank, UNSD, and ESCAP-SD. E-learnings are streamed with stories. They include visual variation with charts and images. Visualization is effective with photo, video, and animation. Visualization strategy is selected based on the topics of e-learning courses. For example, if the topic is about data visualization, more interactive or visual elements are preferred. But for technical topics, such as data analysis, demonstration video, tables, or text are preferred. Experts for advancing visualization of materials are employed as consultants. Materials are including interactive elements in the online training modules, such as drag and drop and multiple choice questions. Learning supports are effective via quizzes and games. E-learnings are effectively monitored via tests, access records, and evaluation of actions of participants. Materials are put in our learning management system. They are customized by interactive training via discussion forum, homeworks, and exercises. After the training, materials are opened for self-learning. Materials are blended with webinars. Webinars are also interactive via polls, Padlet, chat box, and breakout rooms. Accessibility is secured at the maximum, considering interactive availability and time difference previously. Features and functions on MS Teams have been developed. Indeed, function of breakout rooms was newly attached to MS Teams in December last year. Webinars are recorded with presentation files for the use of relearning. These tables are a list of recent training. We implemented courses on climate change, data visualization, disaster statistics, and metadata. We are also organizing training of trainers on telephone surveys and on gender statistics. With UNSD, we are running a country course for Bangladesh. That's all from my end. Thank you very much for your attention. Over to you, Viveke.
Thanks so much, Makoto. Makoto is representing a regional training institute of the GIST. And as Mitali was specifying in her earlier presentation, GIST consists of a mixture of international agencies, regional training institutes, and national statistical offices. And we'll now be hearing from the National Statistical of Mexico. It's the National Institute of Statistics and Geography, INEGI. They have also developed e-learning courses and made them available to us at UNSDG Learn. That is something that we think is very positive from GIST side, because it also allows adding of courses in other languages than English. So the courses that INEGI has made available are all in Spanish, and it adds to the input that many countries have been providing, with the focus on saying that there is a need for more training also in non-English languages. I'll share in the link the specification for the courses that have been added to UNSDG Learn. But before I do that, I'll hand over to Ms. Nuria Toroja, the Director of Quality Assurance.
Thank you, Vivek. Hi, here in Mexico, in quality assurance, we are developing many online courses. And today we are going to present a course specific on administrative registers. And Alfonso is going to present this. Please, Alfonso.
Okay. Good morning. I'm going to the presentation. Okay. Do you see? Okay. Well, good morning or good afternoon to all. My name is Alfonso Tapia, and I'm Deputy Director of Quality Improvement in the National Institute of Statistics and Geography in Mexico. Accompanying me, Nuria Toroja, Director of Quality Assurance at the same institute. My turn at this event is to talk about the quality assessment tool for administrative registers. To begin with, I will tell you about the purpose of this tool. Will allow its users the possibility of having self-diagnostic elements which can be used to establish their opportunity areas in order to improve the quality of those administrative registers that are likely to be used to generate statistical and geographic information. Our idea is that any institution can advantage of this tool of identify improvements. This is the reason why anyone can have access to our web page. What are the results we expect with the use of this tool? I will mention some examples. Detect critical points in the administrative registration process for statistical purposes. Improve information exchange between institutions, detect improvement opportunities, and recognize good practices, among others. For the use of this tool, our institute in Mexico offers a course and the tool to evaluate the administrative registers. Both elements are online. The access to the course and the tool, to access the course and the tool, our institute offers both elements through a microsite published on the institute website on internet. This is the link to the microsite. I wait 5 seconds in case someone wants to copy it. The course is in Spanish. It's important to say that. And the tool too. Okay. The microsite contains the following: backgrounds, objectives, system descriptions, support instruments, characteristics of the training course, and a registration form. The registration form requires very simple data: name, email, telephone address, zip code, country, record name, and subject. Once the application has been sent, our institute receives it, and an email is automatically generated and sent to the applicant. This email provides the username and the password to access the course and the system. The microsite has two buttons to access both elements, as shown here. This is the button to access to the course, and this is the other button to the access to the tool. I clarified that this course is linked to e-learning. Okay, thank you for your attention. If anyone has questions about this tool, I suggest taking the course, or send us an email and we will answer it. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alfonso, and apologies for not introducing correctly in the beginning. The last presentation that we will have today is by Bianca Walsh from the Brazilian Institute of Geography and Statistics. She is working at the National School of Statistics Sciences of that institute, and she's the coordinator for training and improvement. They also have e-learning courses, but what she will be presenting today is their micro-learning materials. And I'll be putting in the chat again where you can find my micro-learning materials on the UNSDG Learn page. With that, over to you, Bianca.
Bianca,
I think you need to unmute yourself. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So my greetings to everyone. I am the head of training and development for IBGE, which is the Brazil's NSO. Inside IBGE, we have the National School of Statistical Sciences. So my department is connected to this school, which is part of the IBGE. There in my department, our department, we produce e-learning solutions, face-to-face solutions, I mean, training and capacity building solutions. But we also offer some alternative capacity building solutions, such as collaborative learning spaces for community of practices, and also webinars, seminars, series of seminars. This micro-learning product I'm going to present now is not something we developed in our department. It is the result of the work of the dissemination department of IBGE. But even though I'm very proud of this product, it's a platform, an educational platform called IBGE Educa, which can be translated as IBGE Educating. And this is turned to three main publics: children, teenagers, and school teachers. For the kids, for this public, we have very ludic content with games, puzzles, ebooks, presenting curiosities about the information we produce at IBGE. IBGE, like INERI, it produces both statistical content and also geographical content. So we offer both types of content. For teenagers, we have a more informative and preparatory content because they're preparing for ENEM, which is our national exam to pass to the university. So there, teenagers can find samples of questions that were really used in this national exam, and also up-to-date information regarding what is going on, like the preparation for the census. You can also see here results from a survey we conducted last year about COVID-19. And at last, we have this material for school teachers, which is basically instructional material to help them with their teaching practices, providing exercises, aids to lesson plans. But there is also a space where teachers can share experiences and also ideas on how they use IBGE's material and how they prepare their classes. So that's it. It will be a pleasure to answer questions. Over to you. Sorry, I think I was too fast.
Oh, thanks so much, Bianca. And for sharing, and that really also creates a good link to some of the other work that GIST is doing, right? With the statistical literacy. We are also currently in the process of developing an inventory of statistical literacy materials. It's still very early in the process, but we hope to make it available in the course of the next months. So that might also be something that could interest you. And I hope what we have been able to showcase today is our efforts to help coordinate statistical training better through this UNSDG Learn page, where it should hopefully then, as we are able to add more and more courses and microlearning materials, to make it easier for users. That means official national statistical offices, UN data officers, other UN staff, other people who are interested in trainings and statistics, to find it more easily. It also links me to a last point that I would like to make, which also links back to what Mitali was saying in the beginning. The TASK team is currently working on improving or supporting improvements of statistical training at the national statistical offices, especially those that do currently not have statistical training centers or focal persons. And related to that, e-learning has also come up as an important point, where statistical offices can use e-learnings to train their own staff at a cheaper level and not being as dependent on externals. Of course, I'm mainly talking of countries with low income and less capacity. So we're really hoping that these efforts will be helping in making more materials available for everyone. And we hope that it will be possible so add more materials as we move forward. And we would look forward to hearing from you if you have courses that you think should be added, or microlearning materials that could be related to this work, with a specific emphasis on official statistics. With that, I'll hand over to my colleague, Alexander Loschke, who will be taking care of the Q&A session of this webinar.
Thank you so much, Vibeke, and thanks to all the speakers for the very interesting presentations and the examples of the learning material that can be found on the SDG Learn platform. So we can open up now for questions. We still have a good couple of minutes for questions. So I have also turned on now the possibility to unmute yourself. So we actually encourage you, if you want to ask a question, to raise your hand in Teams, and then you can unmute yourself and ask the question yourself. So I had a look at the chat, and there are already some questions. Maybe let's take that one first. There was a question about how to register for the courses and whether there is a fee involved in participating in those courses listed on the platform. Maybe Vibeke or somebody else can say a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I can start, and then Elena, if you have something to add, please do that. So the course information on UNSDG Learn will specify whether it's a free course or you need to pay for it. Most of the courses that I have seen have been free. I think there's only a very few exceptions where there is a cost associated, and all the online courses, because it's not only e-learning that is made available, are free to my knowledge.
Thank you. I see Nuria has her hand up. Nuria, you want to say something?
Yes. Well, it's my first time in this forum, so I want to ask a general question. And if we are interested in some courses, in translating some courses that you have in this platform to Spanish, can we do that?
So I would think that very positive, but it's since it's a platform that only provides links to the actual providers, that would need to happen in agreement with the providers of the courses. So, but I think in most cases, the providers would only be happy to collaborate with you on that. And I think we would be happy to help facilitate it. So, so I think that would just be positive the way I see it, at least.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. There was also a question in the chat by our colleague Diana from WHO. I saw, Vibeke, that you have already put something in the chat box. But so the question was, how can organizations register a course to be added to the website? So who wants to take this one?
You want to take this one, Elena?
Well, yeah, I can try. I guess we sort of have a two-folded approach. There are members of the GIST, so typically that would mean you could create a profile as the GIST partner and also have login details and then enter your course. And UN Statistics Division, as the curator for the statistics page, then will validate your entry. If you are not a GIST member, then you could go through the UNSDG Learn entry. I would suggest maybe that you contact us in this case. Yeah, I can write. For some reason, I cannot figure out how to access the chat function, but I will try to send my email address, and then you can just contact us and we can help.
Thank you, Elena. And maybe what I just could quickly add, I'll just share my screen briefly. I think it's an important point in this context that the UNSDG Learn page has a lot of partners. So while it's UNITAR and the UN System Staff College that are kind of the background leads of the work, and Statistics Division for the statistics subpages, you will see here that there are a number of members of the community. And I think I heard mention that the question came from WHO. I don't know myself if WHO is a member as of now, but you will see here that a lot of other UN entities are members of the group. They have been adding courses that are not necessarily statistics related. So that's also something that we're working on, to create the linkages between the statistics staff of the different entities and the focal points that are responsible based on the information that you see here. But I think it's also another bit that many have not yet actually developed e-learning courses. They do online trainings, but e-learning courses are not yet fully developed by many. Back to you, Alex. Sorry, go ahead, Elena.
On that, Vibeke, if this was WHO, I'm pretty sure we invited WHO to be an SDG Learn partner, so we can simply follow up on that.
Thanks.
That would be very helpful. Thanks.
Okay. So are there more questions to our speakers? Maybe I have one question. I think you already mentioned it before, but so courses are not only offered in English. Is this correct? So maybe you can say a little bit about the languages or the courses which are offered in other languages than English. Yeah, maybe you can just say some general things about that, maybe.
Yeah, so depending on what the different providers are doing and which translations are available, there are also courses in other languages. I think through a meeting I had recently, we found out that there are now 5 courses in French. There are also more than the INEGI courses in Spanish. There's also a couple in Russian. And you can search by language on the platform. So that's also a possibility. But of course, the majority are mainly in English. So that's, yeah, and as Bianca is pointing out, we also have Portuguese with the contribution from IBGE.
Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
No, so I was just wanting to maybe also ask a question back to participants, because it's also interesting to hear what specific type of courses you would be interested in, and maybe that we should be looking for. Where are your needs? What would be useful to try and look for? Maybe there are specific things that the GIST community could look at, or other communities could look at. There is, for instance, also the big data group that is currently developing e-learning materials on related to big data. So we'll hope to add that. I also saw the question on, I think on telephone surveys. I haven't seen that we have any e-learning on that, but I know that there is an e-learning available from Statistics Norway on questionnaire design and testing, which is related at least to some of the survey work, and we would be happy to add more to kind of complement these things that are important to so many statistics offices.
There's a little bit of background noise. I'm looking for the person to mute. There was another question in the chat about whether there's, I don't know whether it was a question or actually a statement that, so is there training for interviewers available on SDG Learn? Maybe you can say something on that. Are you aware of any?
We've actually heard this question also from others before, and I've gotten in touch with the Intersecretariat Working Group on the household surveys to see if some of those members would have materials available. As of now, the understanding is that there isn't anything specifically available yet, but we are looking at finding potentially some materials through there, but we should probably also check with statistical offices and more of the regional training institutes to see if there is something that could be used. But as of now, there's nothing on UNSDG Learn, no.
Okay, thank you for this. Any other questions? I saw in the chat there was also a comment from Doug. Yeah, practical development of statistics is needed. Then a couple of other comments, also one by Bianca, of course, mentioning that courses are available in Portuguese as well. Doug, I see your hand up. Please go ahead.
Thanks. Just to expand on my comments, From looking at what is available at the SDG Learn, it seems like a lot of the trainings are developed by international organizations, mostly focusing on SDG related topics. It would be quite natural to put SDG related trainings at a portal named SDG Learn, and also because this is more in line with the interests of the international organizations, sort of the use of the data, how to put them use them in a policy context. But maybe somehow I support Bianca's perspectives on that there might be a little bit less on how to develop statistics, what are sort of the procedures you need to do when you are defining a topic, making a questionnaire, hiring enumerators, going to the field, maybe also sort of developing the data and sort of up until the analysis phase, then it's more content there, is my impression. And if that is correct, what can we do to get more hands-on trainings on statistics is my question. Thanks.
Who wants to take this question? Vibeke, you want to respond?
Yeah, I can give some, but then I'm also wondering, maybe Mitali, if you have some thoughts on this, because this is things that we've
I think
discussed a lot. Do you want to go first, Mitali? Yeah.
Sorry. I think Bianca raises a really good point. The gist so far has been very focused on international organizations and a lot of developed world participation. So it would really benefit a lot from courses that are more focused on the interests of other countries, and if other countries are producing courses. So we hope in the next 2 years to reach out. I think it was natural that the first 2-3 years of GIST was dominated by the SDGs, because that was the reason why it came into being in the first place, because countries were struggling to produce the indicators that were expected of them. And so it was a natural progression that we came together as a team. And now I think in the next 2 years, it's really a question of reaching out and being more inclusive of the interests. I think it's really going to be more relevant if we take it beyond just the SDGs or beyond just the international frameworks that we are using. So yeah, so thank you for that comment. And I think it's a very, very valid one. And thanks, Doug, also for raising this issue.
Thanks very much, Mitali, for this answer. There is one other question in the meeting chat, and I'm just going to read it out. So, it will be useful to have courses about the methodology of household service conducted by various UN agencies, for example, UNICEF, the mixed surveys, UNDP with its HBDA service. Alternatively, it can be one course briefly informing about those survey methodologies. So not so much as a question, but more as a comment. Maybe I'm not sure if mixed courses are already online or represented on the SDG Learn. Maybe you can say something on that, or courses from UNDP.
So I had a meeting with representatives from UNICEF. I guess it's almost a year ago now, and at that point they didn't have so many e-learning courses on statistics. I think there is 1 or 2 now on UNSDG Learn, And of course, we certainly need to follow up. But as of now, my impression is that they're not e-learning courses. And I think that links back to what I said earlier, that a lot of the agencies are focusing on online training, but it hasn't been converted into an e-learning yet. Because there is kind of this feeling of needing to do it very specifically. But I think it's something we can follow up on. I think I've seen the coordinator of the Intersecretariat Working Group on Household Surveys also here in the webinar. So I think that is something we can collaborate on and follow up on. And I agree with the comment in the chat that, of course, UNICEF is sharing a lot and then they are very active, but it's just that it hasn't moved into an e-learning, at least to our knowledge yet, but it's something to follow up on. The same, I would assume, is the case for UNDP.
Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, there was also a comment by Bianca that soft skills are also important, and didactic preparation for trainers. So yeah, so more like again the trainers perspective a little bit, right? Okay.
Yeah, and I think that's something we've discussed a lot in just the kind of the soft skills, the needs for training in soft skills for statisticians. So we'll also try and see if we can make more available and check what is available on that.
Yeah. So any last question? Because we have reached 9:30 now here in New York. So we would be at the end of our webinar session today. But if there is still one more question we can take. If not, I would like to really encourage everybody to unmute themselves now. So now is the moment where everybody can unmute themselves. And please give our speakers a big round of applause. Thank you. Thanks so much for participating today. Thanks so much to our speakers, for Vibeke for putting this together, and see you in 2 weeks on the 20th of April, if I'm not mistaken now. We will have a global network webinar on the use of mobile phone data in Oman. So please join us next time again. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexander, for hosting.
Thank you.